Yo, I will tell you exactly how I do shadows, so you'll get all the steps that you'll need to drawing shadows, okay, to understanding them and to actually making them amazing. So yeah, I've been drawing for like a year and a half now. I've made decent progress. I also read books about that, about shadows, about colors, and I've watched a couple of courses and watched a lot of YouTube videos about that. So I have decent understanding, and I want to tell you what I know so you can make more progress faster and better. So to be honest, shadows were, I mean, shading basically was always the struggle for me. So I pretty much avoided that and I would only draw like sketches. And that was for a big portion of my drawings because whenever I draw shadows, okay, whenever I added shadows, those drawings were instantly bad and I hated that. So because of that, I only draw sketches and you know, they look way better without the shadows. I wanted to improve. I didn't want to sit at the same place and only draw sketches, okay? And you can probably relate to that. So you know of a thing that would make your paintings way better, and yet you don't really do that, okay? You don't really go out of your comfort zone and you stay there, stay where you're comfortable, and you don't do progress. So I've been there. So it was time to actually learn shadows, and obviously for a long time I would suck. I would still suck at them, and yet I had to go through that. So I've watched a lot of stuff for that, okay, and slowly I've got better. And now I've made a basic workflow of actually making those shadows. So with that, my drawings look much better than they did at the beginning. So let me tell you what I learned and how I actually do the shadows. Okay, so now first thing is, let's start with base color. Okay, and how do you choose base color? Basically, you have a color wheel here, okay? Top right, you have color wheel. And today we'll be just talking about a value, okay? From white to black. And we're gonna go to color. And I think that will be another video, okay? How to actually paint skin, okay? So I'll do like colors for skin. But now, let's just choose a basic color, a base color, okay? And don't choose a white. What I would recommend is somewhere between here, okay? Somewhere here. Let's just choose that, and let's make a sphere. We have a basic sphere here. The base color is just the color of your thing, okay? So of your subject or whatever you're drawing. So now let's go to the next part, which is just adding a shadow. And how I do that, how I choose a color for my shadow, is you see here we have our base color. I go a little bit above the halfway point between our color to the blacks, okay? And with that we have our color for shadows, okay? And we can actually go probably a little bit darker, okay? And I've made a new layer. I've put it on clipping mask, and it depends on the lighting scenario of your painting, okay? Because sometimes you may have, you know, hard light, okay? And sometimes there will be soft, okay? So now I'll do just soft, okay? And you can do with hard brushes, okay, and then smudge it, or you can just take an airbrush and just do that. Yeah, let's make with airbrush. So, okay, take an airbrush and just put the basic shadow, okay? And actually there are two types of shadows, okay? One is the form shadow, okay? And the form shadow is basically a shadow that is made because of the form. The form shadow is basically made by the form, okay? So if you have like cone, okay, and you have a light here, form shadow will be here, okay? Because the form is rounded, okay? And same stuff here, okay? So basically form shadow is made because of your form, okay? And the other one is the cast shadow. So just let's take that and make something like that. So okay, so we have our cast shadow, okay? It's basically, you know, like made by the form, okay? It's casted by the form, okay? Pretty easy. Now, from that, let's go to the next step, which is bounce light, okay? And yeah, I do that next, and what it is basically a light. So let's say it's a surface, okay? And let's say, okay, the surface is white. So now the light, okay, the sun or whatever, it shoots these light particles, okay, and they're bouncing, okay, and with every bounce they take the color of the stuff they're bouncing from, okay, and obviously it's not like one-to-one color. So what we actually get is let's say we have here a red, I don't know, a red table, I guess this ball is on. And what we get is, okay, light goes here, bounces with the light. It bounces onto our subject, and with that it makes less saturated, okay, and it basically is, okay, we have our color here and here. It's basically between those two. So it would be like that, something, okay? But now we have white stuff, so let's just make that between those two values. So maybe like that, okay? And here we have our bounce light, okay? And obviously, we get bounce light also on our cast shadow. So let's make that also. So we have our halftone, okay? We have our shadow, and shadow is basically like a little bit close to halfway point from our halftone, okay, our base color to the darkest, okay? And bounce light is basically between our halftones or our light or whatever, and between the shadow color, okay? And that's why we get these. What I do next is basically here we have a core shadow, okay? But I'll do something else because I make it a little bit darker. So we take that color, make it a little bit darker, and I make that. And core shadow, okay, core shadow is basically between our halftones, okay, this line of between light and dark, okay, light and shadows, and bounce light, okay. So here is darker, and after that what I do is I add ambient light, and after that I add ambient occlusion, okay. So let's just, actually we can do on the same layer here, okay, and let's just add here ambient occlusion. And ambient occlusion is basically the area where we don't get much light, because you know there's those light particles are bouncing, okay, and they can't really bounce here, okay. So that's why we get ambient occlusion. Now let's do that on here, okay. But now also what we can do is we can smudge the shadow, because you know the closest shadow to the object is the sharpest, okay. But the further we go, the more smooth is the, you know, the shadow. Here we have pretty hard, okay, and here we have a pretty smooth, okay, and that's pretty good. Now what we can do, and next step is finally adding highlights. So for highlights, what I do is I actually take this, make it a little bit lighter, okay. I go with that and put here a little bit like light, or okay, a little bit light. And now I'll go like to probably almost white, but not white enough, and I'll do and put highlights, okay. Now we can go even, and okay, and I'll go here and put highlights, okay. And now it looks, no, now it looks good, okay. That's how I do shadows. But obviously the highlight might be hard, okay, but also might be like that, soft, and it depends obviously on the material, okay, of the subject. So basically that's how I do shadows, okay. And with that you can basically do skins and stuff, just change the colors. And I'll actually make a video about how I paint skin, okay, and all the cool, you know, textures I add. Now if you're actually serious about improving your art, okay, and actually, you know, making a really good progress in your art journey, top link in the description below. I'll do one-on-one coaching with you, and I'll make there also courses, okay, so you can go much more in depth into that topics. So yeah, thanks for watching. Now you can follow all my socials, okay. And if you enjoyed this video, okay, if you learned something, like, subscribe, comment and stuff, and thank you for watching. Bye.